I used to live in fear of so many things, and fear of rejection, fear of what if I fail, fear of not being accepted, not being loved enough. Like there's so much fear that I had, and it's just like the fear is our ego trying to keep us safe, because
I
our
agree.
ego cannot predict what's going to happen because it does not know what's going to happen. So it
Mm.
wants you to do the same things you're always doing to keep you safe. Now, that's not going to get you to where you're looking to go.
Welcome to Mindset Mastery with Julissa Edwards, the podcast dedicated to helping high performers unlock their true potential and cultivate a powerful mindset for success. I'm your host, Julissa Edwards, a mindset coach and advocate for healthy high performance. Join me on this transformative journey as we delve into strategies, insights, and inspiring conversations with experts and thriving high performers. Get ready to master your mindset, elevate your performance, and create a life of purpose and fulfillment. Let's dive in. Hey everyone, so we have a beautiful episode coming up for you guys today. It is with Priscilla Ashley. She is a holistic health coach and clean beauty makeup artist who focuses on beauty from the inside out. She feels that she is here to guide women on their journey back to themselves, connecting deeper to their bodies and remembering how powerful they truly are. Priscilla's story is so inspiring and grounding. We did some breath work organically in this episode, and she just really lets us know how we can tap into the spiritual side of our soulful, expansive beings without complicating it so much. And it's her beautiful story of how she came to be where she's at today in her career and how she's helping women really do beautiful things. And I hope that it inspires you to reflect on your journey of evolvement and inner work and findings to help pivot you to the next level in your life and career and mission of, what's your soul's purpose at this time. So, without further ado, I'll let you guys dive in. Enjoy. Hey girl. All right. I am super excited to dive right in and ask you some really juicy questions and learn more about your story and just have you bless us with this. I feel like you've transformed since the last time that we've spoken, which was like a couple years ago. And it's like you've had a huge glow up internally.
Mhm.
Yeah, so let's get into it, girly. What has transpired over the last, I don't know, like 2 to 3 years, and what has changed your mindset into the way that you take care of yourself?
So I would say that I basically dove deeper into myself. So I've been on this journey where I've been really getting to know myself, connecting with my body, listening to my body, paying attention to what I put into it, what I
Mm,
surround it with. And it's really through this journey changed my perception on the way that I view life.
mm,
And it's just been this way of peace and grounding that has helped me just look at life in a way that's more, I guess, like joyful and beautiful, which is like something that I'm just like really excited to share with other people.
yeah, I love that. So we're being more in tune with our bodies. We're being really careful and selective with what we're introducing and digesting into our bodies. And it just sounds like organically that probably has played out, everything from the inside out into other factors of your life. So, how did you, because I know, you're a makeup artist amongst other things too. Now you're in the soulful world of like holistic, food and all of that jazz. And I want you to tell me more. But it began, well, to my belief, it began with makeup, correct?
So makeup, it more so actually began with my acne journey in 2018. I
Okay.
got really bad cystic acne all over my face, and you can't tell looking at me now, but basically it was a huge shock to me and my body because before that I had never broken out, and then out of nowhere I have all these like blemishes all over my face, and
Mm.
I'm like, what's going on? And I'm like scrambling, getting all these like topical creams at Sephora or wherever I can get them, trying to basically like clear my skin with creams and whatever lotions I could find. I was making it worse. And a dermatologist ended up trying to put me on a prescription medication, which at the time I took because I just wanted a solution to anything. And my mother actually opened my eyes to make me realize, like, well, do you really want to be on prescription medication for your whole life for a skin condition? And
Mm,
I didn't see anything wrong with it, but it started making me think, like, well, actually, maybe I don't want to be doing this. And there was a whole bunch of side effects to the medication. I had to be doing blood tests to make sure it wasn't like causing any issues in my body. So that brought me into the world of looking for a holistic way to heal it. And that's when I started learning about gut
mm,
health and how the reason why my skin was looking the way it was because there was something going on inside my body that my body was trying to tell
mm.
me. And then that's when the light bulb started to be like, okay, so maybe the way that we've been doing things isn't working anymore. And now let's pivot.
I see. I see. This is why also you were like educating us on your platforms of like, this actually isn't the cleanest, like makeup and, even like the way that you clean your brushes and all that stuff was because of the acne that you had. It gave you like an for motivation to just like, let me start really looking into these things and educating myself on how I can make this better.
Yeah, exactly. And at first, when I was going through it, of course, I was like, I can't believe I'm going through this. And I was like, honestly, and now looking back, I'm so grateful that I went through it because if it wasn't for that really difficult time where I was hiding my face and putting makeup on to hide the craziness that my skin was like showing up as, I wouldn't be the person that I am today. I wouldn't have gotten curious. It kind of gave me the exact push that I needed exactly when I needed it. And I believe that everything happens for a reason. So I'm
Yeah.
super grateful for that journey and I would never take it back.
So much so that it impacted your life, like you said, in many different levels. And now you're coaching, correct?
Yes. So I'm a holistic
Yeah.
health coach. And so I'm really passionate about that too. So
Yeah, but it makes sense. It's one, it began with the makeup. And by the way, for anyone like you'll have her links at the bottom of the show, but Priscilla does amazing makeup. And it's probably because you're doing the thing, on both sides of like, yes, beauty on the outside, but also beauty on the inside. And so organically you've led into now holistic wellness coaching. And so what's your motion and not motion what's your motive and passion behind that new identity as far as like a career goes for you?
yeah, so there's a few things that go into it. The first thing is that feeling the way that I feel, having this perspective on life now, it feels like it would be so wrong for me not to share it with more people. I actually want to yell it from the rooftops. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I
Yeah.
want more people to feel like this. I want more people to see that life is so much bigger and beautiful and lighter than what we're currently experiencing, right?
Yeah.
So I feel so in my power now that I want to help women specifically remember how powerful they are because
Mhm.
with the way society has went, the way that women are treated and spoken to, and just the level of like power we have against male and female, which it should really just be equal, but it's just not right now. And so many women have forgotten how powerful they are and how magical they are. And so
Mhm.
being in this space, finding myself in this way, I feel that I need to share it with other people. And then because of my journey with makeup, my love for beauty and all these things, because of my acne journey, I realized beauty is from the inside out, not just what you put on, but what you're doing within yourself.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful to also be a makeup artist because I love to make women feel beautiful, but I
Mhm.
also want to express the importance of feeling beautiful on the inside because even whatever you do on the outside, you could put all this makeup on, you could put these amazing clothes on, but you yourself may not feel beautiful in your own body because
Yeah.
you are disconnected from yourself. So that beauty from the inside out aspect and my passion to remind women about how powerful they are, that's what brought me into this space.
I love that. And, it's, I know because that's your focal point and there's so much heart into it. I know without a doubt if you're going to be incredibly successful because as an entrepreneur myself, beginning in this, for me, psychotherapy world and going into coaching, it doesn't like, I remember the kind of the same analogy that you have for makeup on the outside and then doing the inner work within. For me, taking clients on a mental health healing journey, you have to meet them where they're at. Right. So, like, if the initial thing is going to be to make the outside feel better for maybe your clients, for me, it was like levels of coping skills, right? If it's like you want to fix a thing right away, let's do something really quick that's going to calm the nervous system. It's going to help you feel better. But eventually, if you really want to get into it, you're going to have to dig deep with me. But I got to get you to trust me, and I have to get you to, for your body to trust yourself. And the process has to be slow, organic, and also very much tailored to the specific person. So I feel like you have a great business model where you get to, have clients come for the makeup, which is, beautiful. You're going to an event or you want to learn more about clean products, like, come to me. I got you. I can make you, look beautiful outside, and then rub shoulders with me for a little bit longer, and I'll teach you about internal wellness and why my skin is radiating without that much makeup and all the things. And I think that's beautiful. And the passion and the heart behind your why and like how it was even organically created. I'm really happy for you that you found this and that even the way that you speak about it, you're anchored in. There's no like wobbliness in your voice when you're talking about it. And so for me, I'm like, oh yeah, she's locked in. Like, this is her purpose, this is her passion, and she's going to do great things with that if you're not doing so already. Right.
Yeah.
So just really happy for you, girly.
Thank you so much for your beautiful words. That makes my heart smile. Literally, as you can, I have no words. I really appreciate those words. They made me so happy.
Yeah, yeah. So I want to talk about, because so while I am rooted in, my beginnings are like psychotherapy and clinical science and all that stuff, which I love still. But
Yeah.
I've also, in my own journey of entrepreneurship, I've also gone really left with like spirituality and manifestation and divine power and like all of this amazing magic that the world has to offer us. And me too. I'm like, I wish more people were tapped in because it's really a magical place to be.
Yeah.
So tell me, let's geek out on that convo for a little bit. How did you get into that side of the world and practices and things of that sort? What things you do to practice that? And how do you kind of guide others through it as well?
Yeah. So I got into it by basically, I say that I awakened last year. Like, my
Mhm.
soul started, like, I felt like connected, and I basically, my perception of life completely changed. And that started with a program that I was in. It was like this chakra program. It was just supposed to be a program to like basically connect with yourself, like a self love, like 6 month workshop. But there was definitely a spiritual component to it, and I felt called to it. I felt like I needed to do it, but I didn't have this understanding of the chakras. I didn't even know what the chakras were. Um, and through that journey, I met people, and just things started clicking. Things started making sense. And I remember hearing something along the lines of, when you hear something and it's true to you, or it makes sense right away, like there's no doubt, it's your soul remembering that it already had that information,
I
but
love
it
that.
just, yeah. And so it's like, oh, your soul's like, oh yeah, I knew that, but I forgot. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
that's why things are like, yep, that makes sense. I can't even argue. That's 100% true. You know what I mean? Um,
Mhm.
what I do to connect more to that, the practices that I use are meditation. I meditate every morning. I actually just recently started doing a practice called Kundalini, which is the yoga of awareness.
So good.
Oh my goodness, so good.
So
I
good.
I don't start my morning at all without it at this point. It feels very
Mm.
aligned, and it feels like the exact, because some people are called towards Kundalini, and that I feel like I absolutely am. Like, it
Yeah.
grounds me so deeply. It's a beautiful practice if you feel called.
Can you give us more insight? So I've only done Kundalini a handful of times, and for me,
Mhm.
it's been in business retreats, spiritual business
Okay.
retreats. where we're like in the fire trying to get something like to come out or release. And so it's very intense when I've done it, like a lot of fast breath work. Is
Okay.
that what it is for you as well?
So you can practice Kundalini in short amounts of time. Sorry, short amount of time or longer duration. So you can do anything from 3, 11. So there's like a 3 minute practice, an 11 minute practice, and 30 to 40 minutes. And I actually found someone that I met in person. Her app is called Evolved by Erica, and she's a Kundalini teacher, and she makes it more modern and digestible. And
Hmm.
it's a beautiful app because she has so many resources in meditation. She does live ones, and she also has a podcast where she kind of also dives into the like what Kundalini is. Because when I first got into it, I was like, I want to know everything about what I'm so curious about because I was like, I
Yeah.
want to understand why I'm breathing like this, why I'm chanting. Like, it's
Mm.
very it's very powerful, but it can be intense, which is why you should always start with a little bit because basically Kundalini, you can have a Kundalini activation, which is
Mhm.
like when it happens all at once, it's overwhelming on the system. So it's supposed to be a gradual
Mm.
moving through the chakras all the way up. But sometimes people do too much of the practice for too long and they're not ready. They don't have the tools. And so that's why
Mhm.
it's just important to make sure that you're just taking it slow, listening to your body, practicing with someone that understands that this is like your first time practicing. But that has been extremely helpful for me on my journey. Um, and also it's since it is the yoga of awareness, it can just really help you connect to divine, to your soul, to receive messages that are meant for you,
Mm.
to
Love
attract
that.
things that are meant so you can be on a vibrational match for the things that you were looking to attract in. It's been my experience
Mhm.
with it, and it's chef's kiss.
I love that. Okay, so you meditate every morning now in Kundalini style, and yeah, like what's been your journey? So you're meditating more. What's allowed you to feel the magic? Like you're saying, you get to for people that aren't in this world, like I'm right there with you. I'm like, yes, girl, we can call in what we desire, and we can co-create and all that. Like it's all true. But for some, it's just like, what are you talking about? Like, is this
Yeah,
real?
yeah,
So maybe how was that journey for you? Was it easy to? I don't want to say like cross over and switch over. Like I always say, we're still human. Like we
yeah,
have the human, we have the ego, we have human problems and stressors and things of that sort. And then we also get to tap into our expansive, ever divine, soulful self, which it's not that. Yeah, I mean, like for the moments and times when you're really tapped in, you're not boggled down by the everyday stressors. You're on a completely different plane. And so being able to do both, I actually, I help people. You can't also be fully spiritual and not human at all. That's also not healthy. So there's like this balance. And I guess like for my question for you is, did you have a hard time transitioning, or what phase of transition are you in? Are you like fully in love with the spiritual world, and like how has that been for you?
yeah. So I think I kind of took it slow at first in a way because I didn't really know where I kind of like listen to my intuition, I guess, but I wasn't conscious that I was listening to my intuition. I was just like, at first, I would do like 5 minute practices of meditation, 10 minutes on YouTube. And I would just realize that my day flowed better if I meditated. So I was like, and then the days that I didn't meditate, I'd be like, I felt a little less grounded. I felt a little more chaotic energy. And I kind of give people the example of like, if you don't spend time with yourself first before you go out there and kind of connect with all these other energies, like just think of a tornado. Like it's let's say you wake up and you're already like stressed. Something's already off. Something already
Mm,
fell over and you got annoyed. Now you're taking that tornado out the door with you and you're basically bringing everything into your field. And then when you get back home later that day, you're going to be like, wow, this day was just, it was just not what I thought it was going to be. But
mhm,
what I realized with meditation was that I basically started to see things as like, okay, well that happened, but that's okay. Like I kind of became more accepting, or I would just take a deep breath. So So a lot of us don't realize that we have something within us that can always bring us back, and that's our breath. So we
Mm-hmm.
literally have the ability to, if we're extremely stressed, if something's bothering us, we can walk away and take a deep breath
I just did
multiple
that with
times.
you.
Yeah, because it's so helpful, and I think
Mm,
society feels like it's impossible because also there's this belief that with meditation you need to quiet your mind. It needs to be completely silent. There should be no noise coming in. And that's just not
mm,
realistic. I think eventually if you like, if you're really building your practice, maybe absolutely you can probably still the mind for a longer amount of time. But at first, the thoughts are actually okay to come through. It's actually you're aware of the thoughts. So
mhm,
I like to pretend like I'm seeing the thoughts like on a screen. So my eyes are closed and the thoughts are
mm.
coming through. But I'm not attaching myself to any of those thoughts. Because when you attach to yourself to a thought, more of the thoughts of whatever the theme of the thought is coming through. So let's say you're like, oh, I think I'm going to get fired from my job. Now the next thought is like, oh, I actually forgot to hand in that assignment. I actually might get fired. And
Wow.
so now you're in this spiral because you allowed yourself to get into
To
the
catch on.
that yeah. So instead,
Mm,
if I'm in meditation, a thought can come up and I'll be like, I release that thought. And it's not that you are suppressing it
mm.
or not going to come back to it, but right now you don't have the space to really dive deep into that thought.
Yeah.
So meditation allows you to become more aware of that. And I tell people all the time to just start small because where I'm at in my journey, it's necessary for me to start the day with myself. It's a
Mm-hmm.
non-negotiable.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead.
No, finish your thought, girly.
It's a non-negotiable because I see that it allows me to show up fully as myself. Because if I don't have this time for me, then I'm just going out there and taking on whatever energy is coming towards me. And so I want to fully charge myself up, see what I need, see if I have the space to give up someone else my energy. If I don't, then I can take that assessment within that time frame where I'm by myself. But too often in our society, we're just running out the door, getting dressed. We're not taking that time to really just sit with, okay, what do I need today? How
Yeah.
do I feel today?
Yep.
What do I what do I need to sit with right now? What's coming up for me? And then
Yeah.
we're bypassing until we like blow up and then we're just like, I don't know where this came from. Well, there was those little nudges coming through all the time trying to give you this message, and there's so much noise in our society. There's so many podcasts and music and resources and television, and that's all great. It's not these things aren't bad. It's just how often are you consuming and
Yeah.
not and how often are you giving yourself time to just sit, because
Yeah.
we need both. There needs to be a balance.
Yeah. I love so many. I'm going to touch upon a couple of points that you made. So, I loved when you said that, if you don't connect with yourself first thing in the morning before you leave the room, the house, the door, whatever, you're not showing up as your full self. And that is such a powerful statement because it's true. We are energetic beings and we give every living thing and them to us transference of energy throughout the entire day, all the time, whether you're noticing it or not. I just found a really just cool and just random page on IG about like microorganisms. And this girl's complete IG is just reels of her microscope in her room. And she literally just takes random stuff and looks at it on a microscopic level. And it's like a science, page. And it's cool because you see all these living organisms that are not just like blobs, like when she has a microscope on it, you can see like the same ecosystem that we have in our visual, lens of like the trees and the flowers and the birds and the bees. Underground, there's like worms and stuff, but you can still see that with your naked eye. But then she's taking it on a microscopic level of like, let me take a little cup of water from the pond and show you what's in this cup of water, right? So
Mm.
all of that just to say that like there is living energy all around us that we don't even notice. So, when we talk about like us being vibrational beings, yes, like we are encompassed in a body, but trees have energy, worms have energy, our dogs, our children, like this table, like it all has energy, right? So the fact that you're saying like I need to encompass all of me first thing in the morning so that when I leave the house, then I'm my best self. I'm my most whole self before I let other energies kind of fool me into thinking or being enraveled in their energy that this is also my energy when indeed it wasn't. Right? It's almost like a protective barrier. And I love that. Something else that you said is just I think when we talk, I love that you're making it so simple. When people sometimes think of like, how do I get tapped in? And I want to be more spiritual. It's like, yo, just breathe. Like all you have to do is breathe.
Yeah,
And meditation is great for that. Like I always tell my clients, your breath, everyone's breath pattern is like your own personal pulse. And so when you sleep, you breathe in a certain fashion. When you're stressed, you breathe in a certain fashion. When you're elated, you breathe in a certain fashion. When you feel safe, you breathe in a certain fashion. And so breath work and or meditation, kind of one within the same at times, is really just training your body. If I can have stillness and mindfulness and control in these 30 seconds, 60 seconds, and we bump it up to 5 minutes, 10 minutes, however, and then you work your way up, you're training your body that when all is still, I can have control here. And then my body will remember this practice, just like if we were working out, muscle memory. My lungs will remember this practice when I'm outside in the real world and something pops off. I can remember that my breath, like you were saying earlier, is the easiest and the most, might be not, I don't want to say the most, but it's a very grounding, it's a tool that can bring groundedness so effectively, so quickly, especially if you've been practicing it.
I
So,
agree.
yeah, I love that you mentioned all those things. I want to invite, I think I mimicked you, and I feel intuitively like maybe anyone who's listening might need it too. Let's just take a deep breath real quick.
Okay.
Okay, so if you're listening, if you're driving, be safe, but just take a deep breath. I usually like to say, if you're looking for groundedness, hands, palms on your lap facing down. And if you're looking for insight or wisdom, they can be palms facing up. Right, so we'll take a deep breath in, let the chest rise all the way to the top, and we're going to hold and then release anything that no longer serves us. And we'll do that one more time so people know what to expect this time. So we're going to take a big deep breath in, rise all the way to the top. We're holding for insight and stillness, and we're releasing anything that no longer serves us. Beautiful. What's on your heart to share at this time?
What's on my heart? Not letting fear get in the way of the thing you're feeling called to do.
Mm.
That's what's on my heart.
Okay, you want to go there? Let's talk about it.
Yes, because it's so important. So many people wait to live their lives for when this happens, for the future. And it's something that I have grown from. I used to live in fear of so many things, and fear of rejection, fear of what if I fail, fear of not being accepted, not being loved enough. Like there's so much fear that I had, and it's just like the fear is our ego trying to keep us safe, because
I
our
agree.
ego cannot predict what's going to happen because it does not know what's going to happen. So it
Mm,
wants you to do the same things you're always doing to keep you safe. Now, that's not going to get you to where you're looking to go. That's not going to allow you to align with your soul's destiny, what your soul came here to do. For you to stay the same was not what we were created to do. The human experience is to feel, to experience, to try and try again, to
Mhm.
fail and succeed. But we're all just trying to be perfection. We're trying to just get it right the first time.
Mm,
And I tell people all the time is run towards the fear, because if you're running, you don't second guess. You don't like think too
mm,
much about it because you're already running towards a direction. So you got to run somewhere.
mm.
And there darkness always turns to light. The fear is trying to protect you, but that doesn't mean that the thing that you're being called to, the thing that's in your heart, the thing that you're constantly thinking of is not there by accident. So there's so much magic on the other side of what you can't see. Just think of all those situations in your life where you were so afraid to try that thing, or you didn't know how this was going to go, or you went away to college and you didn't know how that experience was going to be. And now you have lifelong friends, or you
Mm,
met your husband, or, you got this job opportunity
yeah.
that you're so grateful for. And if you didn't go to meet these people, like,
Mm,
nothing is meant to be planned, controlled, or go the way you exactly thought it was going to go.
yeah.
So release yourself from letting the fear control you from living the life your soul came here to live.
Okay.
That's what's on my.
First of all, yes, drop the mic. Yes. Yes to everything you just said. So I just want to point out, my brain is like, let me just explain this. So, like, no, the pause. We were talking about, I mean, it's all beautiful, this whole conversation. We were talking about, your makeup and then the inside out and then spirituality and just breath work and like simplicity and expansiveness. And then it was like, let's just breathe for a second. And then
Yeah.
it was like, yeah, Spirit's telling me to just talk about this thing. And I'm like, okay, let's go there. Let's talk about it. Yeah, let's talk about fear. You literally took the words out of my mouth. That's always how I explain fear. That's just like, it's the ego. The ego tries like a tight grasp on life, just trying so hard to know, to control, and just it's okay, they're trying to protect us, right? Like, I don't shun the ego. It's kept me alive for a lot of years. It's kept me going, all the things. It's my human self appearing, and I love my human self. And then my spiritual side is like, yeah, and we're also supposed to, like, universe, creator, God, whatever your higher power is, this life that we get to live was designed so that we could flourish, so that we
Mm-hmm.
could thrive. And so, yes, the ego, like you said, will try its very hardest, especially when we're taking leaps of faith. And, let's say whatever this scary thing is for you, I feel like because this was a called message for you, Priscilla, like maybe somebody listening is probably like thinking like, should I do this thing? And we're saying like, yes, do the thing. And this is how we can get through, because it is scary. It is disrupting your nervous system a little bit, and that's okay. We just want to learn how to rein it in and not push it away, but understand it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, hey, if there are multiple possibilities of what could happen if you make one choice over the other, and even in those two choices there are multiple universes of ways that something could go down, right? And if we're talking about manifestation and co-creation, it's really what you're fueling with your thoughts and your beliefs and your subconscious wiring, if you may, right? What you really, really, really believe to be true. A quick side note example, when I used to counsel at a like private practice, I was getting a lot of like 25 to 35-year-old females, and they were all coming to me with the same problem for the most part. And it was like, I really want to find a stable, good man, and da da da, all these things. And it was like, cool, let's work on love life, let's work on what we're calling in and all that stuff. And I would attract a lot of hustlers who were like so in their careers or their business, and it was just like, and I want the man. And they had these like very, very high standards, which is not a bad thing for a man. And they would say they want X, Y, and Z thing, but they kept attracting the complete opposite. So I
Mm,
bring up that example because sometimes we consciously say something that we think we're calling in, and subconsciously our inner world is like, yeah, no girl, that's not what you're calling in. You don't believe that you can attract something of that caliber.
yeah.
Hence why you're attracting other X things. So this fear that's coming up for people when we want to do this exciting thing, or else we wouldn't be contemplating it. It's like, holy crap, this could be phenomenal. I could be happy if I could do this thing. And then the ego's like, but what if this happens? And what if that? And it's just like, ooh, okay. Kind of like what did you say before? That was so, I loved it. When a thought comes by, you said, I'm going to release you now.
I'm gonna release that.
Yeah, I'm going to release that. We can use that, right? And I
Hmm.
love the detachment. I always say our spiritual selves have no, they're neutral. There's no good, bad. They're just observing, right?
Yep.
And so if we say, if the fear comes up and we're like, I'm going to release that, it doesn't mean that we're avoiding. It means, like you were mentioning earlier, we're not grabbing on.
Yes.
So that we can just observe and be like, curious. I wonder why you're saying that right now.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. Because um, sometimes it's not that we're trying to suppress the thought. It's that maybe we can stay curious, like, okay, thank you for trying to protect me, I appreciate that, because again, we appreciate the ego for trying to keep
Mm,
us safe. Like, it kept us safe for so long, as you mentioned.
mm,
But just, appreciating it for coming up, but also showing up and saying, well, but I want to see where this is going to go. I want to show up for this thing. I'm afraid, and I honor that, but I'm not going to let this fear stop me. The fear
yeah.
doesn't have to hinder you. It can come up because it naturally will. But are you going
Hmm.
to let it stop you from doing the thing that you've been called to do, or are you going to push forward and see what's on the other side of it? And that's the difference in decisions. And a lot of people stay in the safe zone,
Mm,
but then are they really happy?
mm,
Is your soul happy? Because when your soul's not happy, I don't know if you've heard of this, but I recently heard the spiritual sense of depression is more so your body needs to decompress. So now you have to full stop. Because for so long you've like suppressed, not addressed, said
yeah.
no to yourself, all these things. And
Mm,
when you fully, it's not that you need all these pills and all these things. It's actually that you fully need to full stop. And your soul is at this point, it's like, please, I
yeah.
can't do this anymore. This is
Mm,
not what I came here to do. We're completely on a different path. And
mm-hmm.
a lot of people suffer with that as well. But again, with the fear thing, it's like you don't have to let it stop you. And that's the main point of the message, is like, it's okay to be afraid. Nobody is without fear. If anyone shares that or pretends that that's the case, it's just
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
We all have fear, but it's how are you going to show up with it?
How are you navigating it? Yeah, now I don't want to get too deep into this because this could be a whole other podcast episode, but like,
I know, that's why I was like, let me bring it back.
no, it's so good. I always want to honor individuals that are dealing with anxiety and depression, and
Yeah.
the slew of mental health symptoms, but it really usually boggles down to those two in some way, shape, or form, right?
Yes.
And so, I never want to dismiss the reality of those things because, of course, they are real.
Yes.
And on the same token, there is a spiritual lens to it. And I was once mentored by an Ayurvedic doctor and a holistic mentor who she taught me, again, yes, like the depression lens in the spiritual world. She taught me that, like with our lungs specifically, you literally can't breathe as easily when you're depressed. And
Mm-hmm.
so, which makes complete sense. Breath is life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, if your lungs are not able to expand in the level that they're supposed to vitalize us and give us, literally life, of course, it's like, I mean, I don't want to sound morbid, but it's like you're dying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I read something. Well, no, my Kundalini practice, my teacher, she says, pretty much every day we need 11 minutes to connect to our life force. And that's part of the breath work, right?
Mm,
But every day that, so when you don't, your life force is depleting. Essentially, is like the
mm,
gist of it. So it is so important. We're taking like superficial breaths, like nobody,
yeah.
a lot of people aren't full on
You make me
breathing
want to
deep.
do it every time. Yes.
I'm like, let's go. No, but really, it's like people are taking like small sips of air throughout the
Yeah.
day,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's our life force.
Yeah.
It's we need it. We literally could not live if we couldn't breathe. So let's really remember how powerful it is if that's the case.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you like this has been such an inspiring conversation. And just like I think the for me, what I'm like remembering too is like the simplicity of spirituality. Like it doesn't have to be so complicated, you know? Right before our interview right now, like I put this cup of water in the windowsill to be charged by the sun. And I was like, yeah, this seems fitting. I'll be able to sip on this while I'm talking to Priscilla, and it'll be grand, and I'll gain more like the positive influence and direction for the conversation. And it's like it's the intention too. Like every single time I sip this water, in my head, I'm like, this was charged by the sun, but like
Yeah,
another life source, right? And so when I'm intaking this, I feel better. I feel centered. I feel grounded, and I'm like, whatever is going to come out of my mouth next is what's supposed to come out.
yeah. I love that. That's beautiful. The sun is so powerful, so I love that you do that. I do that with the moon as well, especially during a new moon. I'm like, charge my water, please.
Yeah, yeah. I was in a talking about nature and moon and sun. I was in a continuing ed course for my like therapist stuff, and they were just showing us pictures of trees. And the roots of trees. And I don't know, like if you guys can picture it, if it's fall now, so it's a perfect like resemblance when a tree is naked and there's just all the roots or all the branches, I should say, reaching for the sun. Um, it's almost like it's a mirrored reflection underground. And I didn't know this, but all trees connect underground. So those really thick branches, sorry, not branches, the really thick roots, the stem of the tree, eventually, they do get thinner and thinner, but they're still hella strong because it's a tree. And they literally feet, 10 feet away connect to other trees. So the way that the branches are on top is how it is on the bottom. And it's beautiful. Like there's this whole world underneath our feet that is in a replication of what is above. Right. And so I don't even know how I got to this topic, but we're talking about the water and the sun and all things like there's so much power and wisdom and groundedness and life source within the earth below us. Like you don't have to complicate things to be tapped in. To be tapped in is to be one with the earth. So the four elements, right? Breath work, water, be in nature, what am I missing? Fire, right? Like it's
Air,
you
water.
just yeah. Go ahead.
No, you were just saying what you were missing. So I was like, air, water, fire, and earth.
Earth. Yeah. So,
Which
it doesn't take much to just like take one of the elements if you're just starting and just, light a candle. When I have my sessions, my one-to-one session, I'm like, what do you need to do to ground yourself? Do you need to light a candle? Do you need to have a blanket for warmth and groundedness? Like just like something so simple to just help you feel more at ease and essentially like what you were saying earlier, connected to self.
hmm And something I want to just add to that, because nature is such has also been a very powerful part of my journey, and I never appreciated nature the way I do now. Like I'm a tree hugger and I'm proud. You know what I mean? And I get emotional. Nature makes me cry, and
Mhm.
from joy. And nature is, we are nature. We are connected to nature. Like our veins, the way that our
Yes.
arms look, like they look like the roots of trees. Like there's
Yeah.
no mistake into how we were created and how nature is created. But nature
Hmm.
is such a beautiful reminder that everything will work out and happen exactly how it's meant to be, because nature doesn't need our intervention. Leaves fall, they grow back, everything turns and shifts, the weather change, everything happens, and it doesn't
Mhm.
need us, but it also doesn't worry. Like, trees aren't worried that their leaves are falling. They're not like, oh my God, I'm not going to be beautiful anymore. I'm going to be
Yeah.
cold. Like, they're not thinking about that. And
Yeah.
if you believe that trees are conscious, which I do,
Yeah.
um, so it's like, it's just a reminder that everything will be okay, and it's okay to surrender, which goes back to the fear. Like, if you go out into nature and you just look at it and you're just like, wow, this is all here, and nobody
Mhm.
did anything to actually create this. Like, it just happened because nature is happening naturally, and your life is meant to unfold in that way too, for you to just let go and see where life carries you. So
Yeah.
that's like another beautiful reminder that nature gives us every day. Just walking to work
Mhm.
too, you can look at the trees and be like, wow, like this tree's
Mhm.
here and living her best life. Tree
Yeah.
leaves are falling and she's good with it. So I'll be good with it, you know?
Yeah. It's such a gift that we have to literally look at, be a part of every single day, should we choose to live our life that way, right? And be conscious about, like, we can just connect, go outside and just connect. I think about my children. Like, there are so many days, I have two little ones where, like, life is hectic with two babies, and like they're screaming and they're crying, and I'm like, without a doubt, if I take the kids outside, we have a better day.
Mm.
We have a better day. Like, it's just, I don't have to force. Like, there's so many times where, like, my son, he's talking a lot now. He's like 2.5, and there's so many times where he's like, mommy, 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 and I'm like starting to lose my, like, patience, and I'm like, bro, I can't, like, yes. What is going on? What do you need? And we, like, today, this morning, and I'm like, you know what, let's just get in the wagon, let's go for a walk. And I go to put on one of my meditations and all the things, and I tell him, like, hey, like, mommy needs to rebalance so that you can have the best part of me today. And so I'm going to do a quick meditation. Mommy's going to be quiet for the next, like, 10 minutes. And I was like, God, I don't know if he's going to stay quiet for the next 10 minutes, but because we were on our walk and there were so many things to look at and it was breezy and there's squirrels, like, I didn't have to do that much work. It's like, like, universe was supporting me. And it's like, you need some rejuvenation time, mom. I got you. Like, the world's got, and it was just like a gentle reminder of, like, when things are going crazy in our inner world, and I can reflect that to, like, my household, right? To our inside these four walls, we can just go outside and be held by the universe and let nature take its course.
That's beautiful. And I love that you tell your kids that you kind of need space to come back into balance so that they could
Oh
receive the
yeah.
best part of you.
Oh
That's so important. That's so conscious.
every day. Every day I'm letting them know, yes. But yeah, no, this has been a beautiful conversation. So I want to shift gears just a little bit and allow our audience to really get to know you on an even more deeper level. So what part of your life right now are you either feel like maybe you're stagnant in, or you're struggling in, or just want me to hold space for, that we can navigate through together at this time?
So currently, I am about to take a solo trip that I've never taken across the country, literally this month.
Okay.
Um, Fully excited, and this is that running towards the fear example.
Yeah.
um, but this morning I actually woke up and I was like, oh my God, it's literally like a week and a few days out. Like, I'm really going across the country completely by myself. All the decisions will be only up to me. And like, that's beautiful. But there's just like, there's still, I'll be honest, like, there's still that part of me that's just like, what if this, what if that? Like, that's always there. But it's
Yeah.
like, what am I gonna do with that energy? Am I gonna allow myself to sit in it to the point that it makes me like stops me pretty much? So that is what I'm like grounding back into. It's like I need to continue grounding into it. Um, but I some fears are coming up because it's just like I feel very called to that place. So that's another thing, is that it's a place that has been calling me for a long time. Like spiritually, I have received this
Mm.
call, and it's been like a year, and I finally am answering the call. So in a
Mm.
way, I'm like, what is this place want me there so bad for? Like I'm just so curious. So that's also a little like overwhelming too, because I'm just like, this is like a build up kind of.
Yeah.
Like I'm just like, oh my gosh. And it's the signs have been overwhelming. So it's like could
Okay.
potentially be a place that I move to too. So it's like
Okay. Ooh. Okay. I got chills for you. Okay. Where are you going?
Hawaii.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, so couple of things. So I'm hearing like human ego, like you just stated, like is fearful of like the what ifs, all the decisions are going to be placed on me, like holy crap, but also like spiritual overload. You seem to be very connected to this place
Hmm.
in ways that we don't really know just yet, but we know it's strong. And it seems that you've been getting a lot of messages that like come to this place and like connect. And while that's it's like the cool part about being spiritual is like you're uber connected, and sometimes those messages are hella strong, and
Yes.
that can be a little overwhelming at times too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I actually like I want to say like maybe probably like 3 months back, I had a very vivid dream of the actual island, the spirit of the island. As wild as it may
Mm.
sound, right?
Mm.
From some
Mhm.
people, but that's okay.
Mhm.
Um, the spirit of the island was speaking to me and literally saying, "Come, come." And I woke up and I was like,
Shook.
"Okay, like I will." And I've been there before. That's the thing. This is actually 10 years exactly since I've been there. So I was 18 when I went last,
Okay.
and I'm 28 now. But the
Mm.
way that I view life is so different, as we talked about in this conversation. I remember hiking over there and I was like, oh my God, it's so hot. When are we going to finish? Oh my God, this is so annoying.
Yeah.
But now I'm going to be crying and hugging the trees and all this stuff. So it's like,
Aw.
yeah, there's a lot, as you mentioned, like there's just a lot of, some things are overwhelming, but I've also accepted that like you already intentionally are going, right? You made the decision, you're listening to the call, you're doing
Yeah.
everything that you can do.
Mm.
And so just keep doing what you're doing, keep grounding, keep practicing, keep listening and just seeing where it takes you, because I guess it's also that unknown, like I genuinely don't know what's waiting for me.
Yeah. I mean, all right.
But that's
So
beautiful too. So
it is beautiful. It is. So like I'm super like I'm like feeling your energy too. I feel the beauty of what is to come for you. Like I can't wait. Please tell me what happens when you get there. Not when you get there, but when you feel it's a good time to share. I'd love to
yeah,
know because all these messages it's going to be something grand. And then I also feel your nervousness. Like I too feel like my throat like closing up a little bit, my chest being tight like for you, and I'm like that's normal. I feel like you have a really good insight on how to navigate through those parts, so I'm not worried for you at all. It's more so of my heart's telling you like have you reached out to your spirit guides and ask for their comfort at this time. They're giving you a lot of like alarming messages, which is cool. It's like, hey, clearly we're tapped in. Thank you. But also like, I'm scared. Can you give me a sign that like all will be well or something of warmth or comfort so that I can just feel a little bit more comfortable on this journey because I'm scared.
I love that. That's a good. I should. So I usually do, and I've asked a lot of signs about this place, and the affirmations have been beautiful. Even when I booked the flight, like there's just been so many beautiful affirmations. So
Mm,
I feel so safe going there.
mm,
But I definitely I accept that invitation. I think that that's really important too, because I feel like I haven't spoken to them recently about this since I booked it. Like
yeah.
I've spoken to the universe, but to my specific guides who have been guiding me.
Mm,
Um, I think that'll be important too, especially since it's so close. I think being able to just hear from them and just also allow to feel their presence in that way will be really supportive.
Yeah. I'm so excited for you.
Ah, me too.
Yeah. All right, girly. This was an abundance of magical information. Thank you so much for being on this episode with us. Do you have any last thoughts or messages that you want to share with our audience?
Um, I would like to share that you are worthy of the love you seek. And all the love that you need is within you. And when I say that, I mean you don't need to find someone to give you the love that you're looking for. When you give it to yourself, when you love yourself and respect yourself enough, you'll align with people that naturally can see that radiating out of you, and you'll basically receive more aligned relationships. So you are already worthy of all that love, and you can give it to yourself too.
Yeah, I love that. Beautiful, beautiful. All these messages, girly. Where can people find you to work with you?
Yes. So I have a website, and it's www.bypriscillaashley.com. Very simple, very straightforward. You can find me for coaching there and booking me for makeup, all the things. It's beauty from the inside out, literally. I also create blog posts to share information there as well. So
Yeah,
that's where
super
you find me.
educational. Yeah, okay. We love you. Thank you so much. All of these links will be in our show notes underneath if you want to connect with Ashley, with your middle name, with Priscilla. And yeah, thank you so much for being on the show, girly. I appreciate you and I love you so much.
I love you too. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for tuning into Mindset Mastery with Julissa Edwards. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe to the podcast to receive future episodes packed with valuable insights. Remember to follow us on social media at thehealthy.highperformer for more inspiration, tips, and updates. If you found this episode helpful, we'd appreciate it if you could share it with your network and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your support means the world to us as we continue to empower high performers like you. Until next time, keep mastering your mindset and thriving as a healthy high performer.